Hello everybody, my name is Alan, Alan Cavanero. I'm alongside Nathan of PS Luton Rules, and we are here for the Austrian Grand Prix qualifying session here in Spielberg. We're sorry to bring it a little bit late. We were just discussing some of the priorities to have this newly formatted race, and what we mean by that is, it's not a live stream anymore, due to our internet connections not stable enough to bring a live stream. We are now doing pre-recorded races. I mean, right now this is live for us, but you're going to be watching it and it's not live, so you can skip ahead at your own pace, so you don't have to worry about watching an entire long race. But it'll be edited so you won't see any loading screens, so that'll be good for us, so we won't get any copyright, and it's good for you, so you can skip ahead. So yes, we're here for the Austrian Grand Prix. I'm alongside Nathan of PS Luton Rules. How you doing, Nathan?
I'm doing fine, yeah. So we should say that half of the qualifying session has happened. So we've had 13 drivers who have actually set a qualifying lap. Everyone is here apart from one driver who I believe is Nervotank. Yes, so Nervotank, who won the first race in this championship. I believe he didn't take part in the previous race as well, and he hasn't turned up for this one as well. I mean, I personally don't know why. I don't know about you, Alan. I don't know if you've heard anything on that, but yeah, no. I mean, this should be an exciting race, exciting qualifying session. We're talking one of the shortest laps in Formula One currently. I mean, look at the pole position time currently set by Ali K, and it's a 105.7. So we're talking very low lap times here, and I mean, well, actually, you've got currently there's half a second, just over half a second separating first down to 12th. Obviously it's helped by the fact that there is a short lap. There's yellow flags out in sector 2, but I think that was just okay. I think that was just the game getting a bit freaked because there's slow cars and fast moving ones potentially. But yeah, Alan, I know you always ask me this, so I'm going to ask you it. Who do you reckon is going to take pole position? Do you reckon it'll be Ali K, or do you reckon someone else is going to knock him off the top?
First of all, I'm just going to point out these banker laps, man. 105.7s in a league that I also commentate as well. Their fastest laps, the best they could get, is a 106. I mean, extreme pace. It just shows the fast pace of this track. Not only that, but it can flow very well for the driver as well. You have to keep that in point. Right now I'm looking at Clarky. He did not get the flow through turn 1. But like I was saying, look at that time difference between Ali K and J Thorne, good friends. It's around 100th of a second, and then, hold on a second, Scion fastest time. Now it's 200ths of a second for Scion to take pole. However, I don't know. It's going to be very close between any driver on this grid if they want pole position today. But for the time being, Scion takes over the pole position. If I'm going to have to put money on anyone, I'm still going to think Ali K. I mean, he's our current points leader. As well, he finishes very well. I mean, we could take a look at the season 13 results here, which I'm actually going to do right about now. I think it'd be smart to point out who did pretty well here. I'm going to scroll on down, and I want to see who ended up winning last season. I'm sorry, I don't keep up to date with the previous season of F1, but last season, the Austrian winner was actually Aresi, and then second was Ali K. And you're wondering, where is Aresi? Aresi's all the way down to 9th place. That is around 2/10 off the pace. And second was Ali K. So, I mean, he does have experience at this track. He has a good pace, good form. If he goes out one more time, I will put my money on Ali K to take pole position.
Yeah, so yeah, as you said, Ali K took pole position last time out. Aresi, Shelley qualified in 3rd last season. In the race, as you said, Aresi won the race. Ali K finished in 2nd that race. Shelley was 3rd, J Thorne 4th, Jamie 995 5th. Those were the top 5 finishers in season 13. So those were the guys who were quick back in season 13. But that was a different game, of course. So, you know, different cars, different speeds achieved. I mean, Ali K's pole position time was a 1 minute 15.9 back in season 13. But that was on intermediate tyres. I should point out the cars are not 10 seconds a lap quicker by any means. But Ali K, the current Drivers' Championship leader, he's got 101 points. Synthetic is 2nd with 83 points, and then RC Alonso is 3rd with 73 points. So Synthetic currently in qualifying, he's in 6th. RC Alonso, who's 3rd in the championship, is currently 12th in qualifying, and I assume the yellow flags are going to be for Ollie D, who has retired from qualifying. So he's 7th place, so he's called it a quits there, which is slightly strange. I don't know whether he's maybe trying to conserve the tyres. He knows he doesn't want to do any more laps on them. But, I mean, there's still plenty of time to do another lap easily around this track. So that is a slightly odd decision on his part. But yeah, we should point out that Ali K, the current Drivers' Championship leader, didn't even finish the previous Grand Prix. The previous Grand Prix was around Azerbaijan, and Ali K just got involved in incidents and ended up crashing out of the previous Grand Prix. So the championship lead has been closed up between himself and Synthetic. Synthetic actually finishing 3rd at the previous Grand Prix around Baku. And I think it's fair to say that the previous Grand Prix was not the most interesting one in the world. It had its moments, certainly, but it was hardly a classic. And yeah, hopefully this race on Austria can be better. I mean, personally, for me, I think it's got all of the makings to be a better race. And yeah, I mean, especially with Cyan, who this is only his 2nd race in the top tier in season 14, so he's new to this F1 tier this season, and currently he's got pole position, so he's doing incredibly well in only his 2nd race.
There goes Ali K. That time is blistering fast. I hate to interrupt you, but I mean, I was riding on board with Ali K for the entire lap, and that lap was just flawless. Not a single mistake. That time puts him above everyone else. That is a 105.5. That is 1/10 above Cyan, who was looking to get his first pole position. However, I honestly feel like Cyan is going to fall down the order very, very quickly, because, I mean, there's a minute left and every single driver's out on that track, and most likely, most of them are going to improve on their time, including the ones at the top of the board. So Cyan, he's really got to improve here if he wants to maintain his front row starting grid position for the time being. We have just 30 seconds remaining. And, well, we're going to look at J-Thorn. J-Thorn's going to come into the pits as RC Alonso retires, so J-Thorn will not start on the front row today in Austria. Who is off? That is Synthetic in the S section. The tiny S is Synthetic is off, so 4th place, not going to set a lap either. So 2 candidates for the front row are now gone, as Alex is going to put up right now 2nd place position as Ali K, another fastest lap, just by a couple hundredths faster. That is still in the 105.5s. This time it's a 105.52, which was, again, a couple hundredths faster. Alex only came 1/10 close to his time, so they will share the front row for the time being. Cyan finishes in 3rd, 4th J-Thorn. We're going to ride on board with, we're going to look at David Greco through the final corner. He's finished every single Grand Prix on the calendar. Across the line he goes, and David Greco goes up to 2nd place. That is 1/10 above everyone else but Ali K, and he's actually 1/10 behind Ali K, my mistake, but he is above everyone except Ali K, who is on the pole position so far. Actually, Ali K still has one more lap to set. Alex still has another lap to set, same as Shelly. There's also Wooly, Jake, LFC, Simo, Big C, and H-Race and Green, who have yet to finish their final lap of the qualifying session. Are there any surprises for the time being as Synthetic retires with a 6th place finish?
Well, I'm not sure if a surprise is quite the right word, but David Greco qualifying in 2nd as it stands, that is incredibly good. And remember, David Greco was someone who finished 2nd in the first race of the season. It was a Haas 1-2. Alan, I remember you were very happy about that. That was a brilliant moment for America there. But but David Greco finished 2nd in that Australian Grand Prix. Fantastic result. And he really has peaked then. I mean, you know, every race since then hasn't been quite as good. But he's qualified in 2nd. His lap time is only a 10th slower than Ali K. So actually, David Greco is, without a shadow of a doubt, in a very good position to get a decent result. And in season 13, the guy who qualified 2nd won the race. So there you go. If that happens again today, then David Greco will take his first race win this season. Alex 3rd, Cyan 4th, J-Thorn 5th, and I think that is everyone. I think, yeah, everyone's either in the pits, retired, or has done a lap apart from Zemo, although I'm stuck viewing Cyan, so I can't actually see what Zemo's currently doing. Yeah. Oh, he's just finished, and he has qualified in 14th, so there you go. those are the complete qualifying results. Ali K, David Greco, Alex Cyan, Jay Ford, Synthetic, Shelley Clarkey. B Colt qualifying in 9th. That's not too bad for him, actually. Bearing in mind, B Colt still hasn't scored any points so far this season. Then you got Ollie D, Wooly, Aresi, Jake LFC, Simo, RC Alonso, Big C, Big Shot Player, H Racing Green, and in last place, he didn't even set a qualifying lap time, is Gamer to Best. So, yeah, I'll ask the question back to you, Alan. Were there any surprises from your perspective?
I would personally say David Greco qualifying second. I mean, nothing towards him, but the last time he got a podium was Australia. Ever since then, he's had finishes such as 13th, 12th, 10th, 7th, 6th. It did not start in an 8th place, but really, he hasn't budged even into the top 5 since Australia. Now he's, qualifying second, just a 10th off our point lead here in AOR. So, impressive stuff from him. So, grid order again. Ali K, David Greco, Alex Cyan, J Thorn, Synthetic, Shelley, Clarkey, Biko, Ality, Wooly, Aresi, Jake LFC, Simo, RC Alonso, Big C, Big Shot Player, H Racing Green, and Gamer to Best. As we round out the grid, that is only by 8/10 in the top 18, as Gamer to Best did not set a time. So here we go. The 5 red lights here in Spielberg. Ali K, David Greco in the front row. Ali K does it again with pole position. Lights out and away we go, and we're green from Spielberg. Ali K gets away off to a decent start, and already David Greco diving to the inside. He's going to run wide, and off the corner loses momentum as Ali K. There's a huge collision in the background with the 2 silver arrows, and you can see on the left-hand side, it's red and green everywhere, and that is a silver clash between the 2. That is Alex and J Thorn. And Toto Wolf must be fuming already off the start. Those 2 cars have made contact and they've spun in the first corner. And it looks like David Greco tried to go for a move to the race lead. Did not work out for him. He's back to second place. And look at Shelley and Synthetic in 3rd and 4th. They're single file in the background. You can see a pass. Oh, there's contact between one of the Ferraris. That is Aresi back in 9th place. He was with a Big Shot Player. And he held his line there and went around the outside and was able to hold the position. So as we go single file on back, I'm not sure if any of the Mercedes cars have damage. I'm going to look at the front wings. I don't think they do. Again, I have no clue what happened at the start. I don't have much of a footage. I just saw in the background at 2 cars just went around. I saw a McLaren in the background as well be involved. Actually, it was B Colt and not H Racing Green from my assumptions. But there's a position up for taking behind. That is Aresi looking to the inside of the Sauber. He's going to dive to the inside and grabs a position easily as Big Shot Player runs wide. And there goes H Racing Green. He's into a points-paying position for the 2nd time this season. And now they're going to be side-by-side, headed uphill behind. You can see Scion against Gamer to Best. And he's going to look to the inside, hopping over the curb as Scion. Right on board with him down the straight. DRS not enabled yet. It's lap number 2. Lap number 3 will be when DRS is enabled. But in the foreground in front of us, you can see to the outside, locking up, that's H Racing Green. Trying to switch lanes as Scion trying to look to the inside. Not going to do it. And leading the way in this train is going to be Aresi in that Ferrari. He's up to P8 within the first 2 laps.
Yeah, so certainly chaos at the start there. I should point out that I don't believe any drivers are coming to the pits, but 14th down to 19th all got involved in that collision at the start to varying extents. It's such a shame, it's such a shame that we didn't really get a clean angle on it, because I'm sure, like the rest of us, we were focusing on the battle for the lead with David Greco and Ali K. But Ollie D, B Colt, J Fawn, Alex, RC Alonso, and Wooly all got involved in a collision off the start there. And in fact, I believe RC Alonso and Wooly did come into the pits. Yes, they did, my mistake. So RC Alonso and Wooly have come into the pits, actually, which is, well, they've already fit on the super softs. Now, I think it's going to be a stretch to take those super softs all the way to the end, basically the entire race distance. So, yeah, it could be an interesting strategy there. But we've still got Ali K leading from David Greco in second, who actually is coming under threat from Shelley in 3rd place. And Shelley, last season in season 13, Shelley qualified in 3rd and finished in 3rd. And for the time being, it looks like it's going to be an exact repeat, because as it stands, he is in that exact position. He's half a second behind David Greco, but also about half a second ahead of Synthetic in 4th place. Clarkey in 5th, Jake LFC 6th, Simo 7th, Aresi 8th, and actually Aresi has opened up a slight gap on all those behind, and Aresi, it looked, well, for a while he had a lot of cars to contend with, but now you got H Racing Green, who is just about holding ninth place, and even though the start-finish straight is a DRS straight, it's not really long enough to make a pass. You have to try and make the pass up the hill heading towards the second corner, but no, I don't think there's going to be any change in the battle for ninth place for the time being, although Simon went incredibly late on a break start. I thought he was going to run into the back of H Racing Green, but that was not to be the case. So yeah, oh hang on, I saw a massive look up there from Clarkey, looking up the rear wheels there, but he's still holding 5th place. Synthetic in 4th, and I should point out that I normally don't really pay attention to the team's championship, but since I'm looking at Synthetic, Sauber are currently leading the team's championship. Obviously, largely thanks to Synthetic, but yeah, I mean that proves beyond. I mean, not to say we need to prove it, but that shows, that demonstrates that there are equal cars if Sauber are leading the team's championship. Ferrari are second, again massively thanks to Ali K. But yeah, and at the other end of the team's championship, you've got McLaren, who have only scored 4 points. And again, that is thanks due to partially thanks to B Colt, who has scored no points. But even then again, his teammate H Racing Green has only scored 4 points. So McLaren quite a way off, even second to last in the team's championship, as Renault, who are 9th, have 48 points.
Oh wow, look at that move. Big Shot Player, they banged down the straight. I think there was some lag, but looked like Big Shot Player tried to dive it to the inside of Gamer to Best for the position before, point tank position, as he was trying to go for 11th place, and you can see right in front of us both locking up as Gamer to Best and Big Shot Player, so a double lockup for them. And yeah, you mentioned Sauber leading the championship. Good job to them. I mean, they only have one single win, opposed to, let's say, Force India, who have 3 wins. And Force India isn't even, I wouldn't say towards the front, but they have one driver. Oh, hold on, there's an incident for the McLaren driver. That was H Racing Green, lost the back end off the S section. However, was lucky to able to recover and save it, as he did lose 1 position. He's back down to 11th place now. As you can see in the background, you just saw Big Shot Player lose the back end. He's going to be under attack from Big C. Down the straight, we'll take an onboard view. Heading into turn number 1, that's a 3-second penalty for Aresi as he backs out. And off turn number 1, again losing the back end. That's Big Shot Player for 12th place. And, well, I mean, these stars are actually starting to reel each other in. And, yeah, you also mentioned that McLaren were in the dead last position for the constructors. And, well, that's sort of realism to add into the fair point of what we have equal cars, obviously. That adds into the realism. I wouldn't say it's a coincidence. But around this time, I think McLaren had the exact same points as they do right now in AOR. So again, not a I wouldn't say it's a coincidence. It probably is, but going through the grid, the gap between every driver's less than a second inside the top. What looks to be top 8. Everyone is less than a second behind a car, which is good for racing. If one driver ahead of them makes a mistake, but we are headed into lap number 6. And lap number 7, and leading the way is still Ali K off the start, and the only time he lost the lead was in turn 1, and he quickly gained it back off the exit. So 7 laps in, I think it'd be a good time to actually go over our track facts, which I actually have not done that yet. So, it's coming along. I'll tell you the track facts. It is 4.3 kilometers long, or 2.6 miles, 10 turns, or 10 corners, including the corner on a straight. One of my friends had to correct me yesterday on, hold on a second, there's a position for the taking. That's Big C against Big Shot Player, as losing the back end again is a Sauber, and now he loses out to another car that is Ali D. He picks up P13 in turn number 2, well, technically turn 3, because there's actually a turn along that straight headed uphill. I don't agree with it, but technically it's turn number 3 up on the hill. Alex goes by Jathan, so 2 teammates paddling. I'm not sure if they're too satisfied with each other after the mistake they made. And, yeah, they're back in 16th and 17th place. Not the best start for Mercedes. Did you get any footage of what happened there in turn 1?
No, personally, I think I saw about as much as you did, because I mean, I'm sure you were looking at the battle towards the front with Ali K and David Greco. No, but all I know, I mean, I'm not sure, I mean, the two Mercedes drivers definitely made contact. But, I mean, other drivers also spun out at the first corner, so I'm not sure whether there was one massive collision or whether different people had made different. Whether I'm basically what I'm trying to say is I'm not sure whether it was lots of small crashes that happened at the same time or one big pile up. But I mean, there was no damage, I don't believe, with any of the cars apart from RC Alonso. Well, I mean, RC Alonso and Wooly both came into the pits, which I'm still not quite sure how that's going to play out for them with the tyres. As David Greco actually went incredibly slowly then. I'm not sure what happened there, but right towards the infield section, he suddenly, it's like he just momentarily lost power. He's lost quite a bit of time to Ali K, and I think Shelley ran into the back of him, as Shelley has now got to contend with Synthetic in third place, and Synthetic, around the outside, has made the move, but David Greco is into the pits, so is Shelley.
Yeah. And Simo's into the pits as well with the Resi. So 4 cars into the pits at once on lap number 9. Earlier you said if you want to make the one stop possible, you know, you mentioned something about a one stop. I'm going to tell you, a lot of drivers yesterday in the league race that commentated, only one driver was able to pull off the one stop, and that, you know, was a strategy to, you know, to play out. But then again, I look at drivers such as Simo. I honestly thought Simo would have done a one stop, knowing him and his strategies that he has for us. But pits for the soft tires. Now, if you want to go for the one stop, you have to fit the soft tires in this race. If you do the ultra softs and the super soft tires, it will not work. If you do that, you'll go for a 3-stint race or a 2 pit stop race. That is if, you know, you do without the soft tires. There's not a possible way to go the full race with only one stop without the soft tires. So people who just pitted most likely will be doing another stop because they pitted way too early if they're planning on doing a one stop, because usually you'd pit around maybe lap 14, lap 15 if you're going for a one stop, and then put on the soft tires at the end. That's what I saw from in yesterday's league race. What a coincidence is at Spielberg. Same with Friday. I did another one at Spielberg. I think it was just a big coincidence that it ended up all at once. But we're going to go through the grid. Sion's into the pits. He's on the ultra soft tires, most likely into the super soft tires, as Synthetic picks up a time penalty, 3 seconds for multiple warnings. We've seen a lot of that this season. A lot of that, and it does cost drivers sometimes in the race. Alex goes up to 10th place after pitting, I assume? No, he is not actually. I thought he's pitted by now after that lap 1 collision. But right now he's in some clean air trying to chase people down. Recommended for him, because, I mean, there's no one really in front of him, so... And he's also on the ultra soft tire, so he has time to, you know, work on catching the cars in front of him. But for the time being, Ali K still leads after that mistake that David Greco made a couple laps ago and held up the entire field. And one of the Renaults went into the pits. That was Shelley. And like we said, he made that mistake, and he had to go into the pits due to it. Wait, was it Shelley or Sion? Because I'm not exactly sure. It was one of the Renaults.
Well, Shelley came into the pits at the same time as David Greco. What I should point out is that David Greco, I mean, okay, so it was David Greco, Simo, sorry. It was David Greco, Simo, Aresi, Shelley. They all came into the pits at the same time, yet David Greco clearly got held up in the pit lane because he has come out behind all 3 of them, yet went in ahead of them. So David Greco, an incredibly slow pit stop. Not sure if there was damage on his car, whether the pit crew just let him down. It could just be one of those bad luck moments. But David Greco, and also I should point out that David Greco fitted on the ultra soft tyres. All of the others who came into the pits have fitted on the soft tyres. So if there is a if the two-stop strategy, like you said, Aaron, is... hang on, what did you say? It was ultra soft and then 2 super soft stints?
No. If you want to do the one stop today, you're going to have to start on the super soft tires and then go to the soft tires. I have not seen anyone pull off an ultra soft to a soft tire combination. Bear in mind that if you qualify inside the top 10, you're stuck with the tire you qualify on. Most likely, people inside the top 10 won't really be able to do a one-stop unless they're able to put up a competitive lap on those super soft tires, opposed to everyone else who set a time on those ultra soft tires. And speaking of tires, Ali K did just pit, and he's stuck right behind Alex, who has not pitted yet, and that could play a key role into some people trying to do the overcut. As we're going to go through the grid, there's Clarky out and away he is from the pits, and most likely he's going to lose the position he had against Ali K, as Ali K is going to go up to the inside and almost run the Mercedes off the track, and he does. He made no contact with Alex, but he had nowhere to go as fastest lap for, I think it was David Greco again setting a fastest lap. I'm not sure, but he's all the way back in 14th. Remember, just a lap ago, he did set a fastest lap. Now looking at the car ahead, that's Synthetic, going to go to the inside of Shelley loses 2 positions as David Greco takes advantage of this opportunity as well. 12 laps in, and a lot has happened, and believe it or not, one of the most popular drivers in this league, I'm being sarcastic, that is Jake LFC leading. And, you know, he's leading for the first time in AOR F1, and I think that Twitter page of Jake is going to have a ball if he wins this race. He's going to be furious for Jake if he actually wins today, which I would find it hilarious if that does happen. But Jake LFC, remember, has not pitted yet, so that is the reason why he's leading. And remember, no safety cars, so there's none of that if they get lucky. But I'm actually Gamer to Best and Ollie D are into the pits as well. And it looks like a lot of these drivers that put on the tires, a lot of them are putting on the soft tires. So there's a good chance we may see 3, 4, maybe even 5 drivers that are on this grid. Most of them are going to be going for one stops, but we'll see if it pays out for them. But again, I remember it was around lap 28, 29, 30. Maybe it was around like 26, 27, 28, 29, around that in a race. In the league race, where we saw people pitting for the second time, putting on ultra softs to the end, trying to put on a late race push because they know that their tires cannot go till the entire race. So we may see that in today's race as Ollie D's going to go up to the inside of RC Alonso. Try the cross back as Ollie D ran wide. They'll be side by side down the straight. DRS it is for RC Alonso as right on board with Ollie D. Maybe looking back to the inside of RC Alonso and locking up into turn number 4. I'm going to consider it turn number 3 for now on. So if I offend anyone, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry. But RC Alonso still hanging on to 15th place after literally, I think everyone has made their pit stop. Actually, nope, there's quite a few. There is going to go up. Going up the grid. There is an incident between Clarky and Synthetic, and it looks like Alex is into the pits, as it looks like he'll finally be making his pit stop. There's Big C, as he was just involved with an incident side by side off turn number 1, headed uphill into turn number 2, as it was just between Simo and Aresi, as well with Big C, and they're gonna go up into turn number 2, as I'm quite surprised what happened there. Now I look back with Clarky, he's about to get freight trained from the Sauber of Synthetic. They're going to be side by side off turn number 2 as a single file back it is, and Synthetic gets the worst of it. But again, I was just looking up as the Ferrari's going to dive to the inside, hits a Force India, loses the back end in turn number 3. Simo had to be very cautious with that one. He had Ali K's teammate Aresi behind him, and do bear in mind, Big C is not pitted yet. And for the people who have not pitted, they're trying to make up as much time as possible. And this is not helping the case or the cause of Big C. And he's stuck behind 2 slower cars at him. How do you think that'll play out for Big C?
Yeah, Big C. I mean, Big C is just one of the number of drivers who I'm wondering quite how their strategy is going to plan out. As H Racing Green is another one. Well, pitting later than expected, although he did start on the super soft tyres. So yeah, I mean, actually, we saw the previous Grand Prix, Ollie D actually did quite well. He finished 5th that race, started right towards the back, but actually did quite well just by swapping around the order in which he used each tyres. And if this race, if everybody's doing a 2-stop, now here's the thing, because they've all fit on the soft tyres, apart from David Greco, who came into the pits and has fitted on the ultra softs. So David Greco, as it stands, has done well. He's started on the ultra softs and he's on the second set of the ultra softs. So unless this is going to play to his advantage and then he ends the race on the softs while everyone else is on the ultras or the supers, I mean, the thing is for that strategy to work, David Greco would have to get track position, and he just lost that through the pit stops. As I said, he lost 3 positions just by the other people who came to the pits at the same time as him. And we've got Big Shot player and Jake LFC finally pitting, so Ali K should retake the race lead, although Jake LFC's relatively close towards the pit exit, although I did actually underestimate just quite how many people were going to pass him there. And Jake LFC, actually no, I take it back. Jake LFC has come out in 5th place. That's not that bad at all, actually. Okay, 6th place now. I see it's been passed by late on the brakes. But no, it's been pinched on the inside line there. So Jake LFC has actually come out in 6th place, just behind Synthetic and just ahead of David Greco. So now that I believe everyone has pitted, as Big C locks up, I've noticed that actually the Williams drivers have locked up quite a bit from what I've seen. Actually, Synthetic, racy then over the back, all over the back of Big C. But now that everyone has pitted, so the race order as it stands, although we're expecting everyone to do another pit stop. So we got Ali K currently leading, Simo in second, Aresi third, Aresi in third. I mean, Simo, I can't honestly even remember where Simo qualified, but he's done exceptionally well because he's just, well, he made up places through the pit stops, but also must have made some on-track overtakes. And it's like Monaco all over again, where Simo, out of nowhere, has just found himself towards the front. But yeah, Simo's second, Aresi third, Synthetic in fourth. Actually, Synthetic passing Big C, I believe, and JKLFC has now got to try and get past Big C, and they're side by side actually, and JKLFC should actually have DRS, so he should be able to get past them. Of course, Big C's also going to have DRS. This is the battle for fifth place. JKLFC came out of the pits more recently, and they actually made contact there, and JKLFC went into Big C's side pod, but has still gotten by. Well, that is okay. That's not the cleanest, not the fairest way to do it, but yeah, JKLFC has found his way up into fifth place. So the overcut and getting into clean air has actually worked out for JKLFC for the time being. But of course, unlike, Alex has got a 3-second time penalty, although quite a few drivers have actually had 3-second time penalties. But unlike previous Grand Prix, where normally the action in the race would die down from this point onwards, if every driver is doing another pit stop, then this is by no means the end of the race. And, you know, because normally we'd look at this and we go, okay, Ali K's way more than a second ahead of the guy in second, he's going to win. But if there's more pit stops, variance in when people can come in, what tyres they can fit on, all sorts, and especially if we have more bad luck for certain drivers in the pit stop phases like we saw with David Greco, a lot could happen, especially as, I mean, towards the back end of the points, they're still line astern, so yeah, this race is far from over for the time being.
Yeah, you did point out about the one stop and the two stop. Well, I can confirm Jake LFC, he's going for the one stop, same with Age Racing Green and Big C. Believe it or not, on my screen, or the dashboard, Big C has not pitted yet. If you check yours, I don't think, I think that'll be the same for you. He's the only driver in this field who has not pitted yet. That's because he started on those soft tires, and, well, those can go a lot longer, because remember, those super soft tires are able to stretch until lap 15, 16. It's now lap 19. Those tires most likely will go to lap 22 in my estimate. But Shelly's into the pits. He's going to be one of the few on this grid, joining RC Alonso and Alex to pit for a second time. So, for the time being, Shelly will be into the pits with his teammate in 9th place as well. Just wanted to point that out. They're going to repair that front wing, so I don't think it was a scheduled pit stop until he broke that front wing. So the number 38 Renault will be out after they repaired it, and he is in 17th for the time being, and about to be 18th after RC Alonso is going to come up on him. It's going to be close between these two. Right on board with RC Alonso after the first turn. It's going to be close. Side by side they are off turn number 1, and they'll still be side by side as they head uphill for 17th place. Up the hill, however, RC Alonso has the advantage with the momentum flowing off turn 1. And behind is Shelly off 2. And down the straight to go, opening up DRS. He is down the straight. RC Alonso, he's not going to pose much of a threat, is Shelly, towards RC Alonso. Maybe a dive up the inside, but I don't think that's going to be the case. As that'll be that, as Big C finally is going to head into the pits on lap number 20. So he's going to be another fellow who's going to pit as well. However, most likely, Big C can easily do a one-stop now 20 laps into this Grand Prix. He's going to have to put on the super soft tires, though, if he wants to finish it out on there, and that's what he's going to do as Gamer to Best. 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. He's at the tail end of this train. As believe it or not, David Greco is leading it on those ultra-soft tires. You thought he'd be much faster than he actually is, but you have to bear in mind, he pitted such a long time ago, and those tires most likely are worn. So, if I'm going to have to put money on anyone to win this race, I would have to say Jake LFC, and there's a good reason why. Do bear in mind, everyone else in front of him, I mean, they've done the one-stop so far, but Jake LFC, out of everyone, is the only one capable of finishing this race on those tires, and that is opinion I hold strongly. I mean, look at the gap between first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. They're all around 1 second, 2 seconds around that. that really adds up to around 5-6 seconds in overall pace. You do have to bear in mind that long pit straight. Hold on a second, we have an incident with Gamer Best. He's off the track in the S section and not having the best of time. It looks like he's skating on ice right now, as he's trying to self-inflict another retirement this season. As, last week he ended up winning. Now it's gone down to shambles, and he's lost the front wing, and he's about to get passed by Alex, who's in dead last, as David Greco's into the pits for another time. His tires probably saw the end of their lives, and he'll probably finish the race on these tires till the end. But yeah, I was saying, the time adds up definitely. Hold on, Gamer the Best finally retires his car, and this time decides to put some debris off on the penultimate corner. Probably went head on, but that's going to be that for his race. And yeah, like I was saying, I would really put money on hold on, another position for taking. That is what it's going to be. RC Alonso trying to hang on against Shelley. They're going to be side by side off turn number 2. DRS available for the car to the inside. That's Shelley against RC Alonso. Side by side, they go down into the third corner. We may see 3 wide, and we will. Trying to find just enough room. There's contact, as there's still 3 wide, back to 2 wide off the corner. Shelley, he thought he would have gotten by, but he falls back down at both positions, and now back down to the inside of David Greco. And now he's going to fall victim to that chaos. And nothing has been done, to be honest. Nobody gained or lost a position. So that was really just a waste of time. But it was a good show for us. But yeah, I'm going to have to keep on saying, hopefully I have enough time to finish my sentence. This long pit straight, and remember the entrance, it takes a lot of time to get to the very end. Or take, from the start to the end of a pit stop. That's around 20 to 30 seconds. And it is around a 7-second gap overall between Jake LFC and Ali K, if I add that up. So really, that's a lot of time for Ali K to make up if he makes one more stop compared to Jake LFC, who is set for the end of the Grand Prix. So again, I'm gonna have to put my money on Jake LFC to win this Grand Prix. 22 laps in out of 36.
Yes, you point out a battle that is going on down further on the field, well, involving RC Alonso, but also with Shelley and David Greco. Now this is, I mean, once upon a time this would have been important for the race lead, but I think now Shelley and David Greco, their races, I mean, sure, they have made the extra stop, so they will not be stopping again, unlike everyone else. So that means, Shelley, David Greco, you can kind of take off about 20-25 seconds off of their current deficit. But even then, that's not going to put them especially high up. They'll still put them outside the top 5. David Greco qualified in second, got screwed over in the pit stops, although also fitted on the ultra soft tyres, which maybe in hindsight was a mistake, because ever since then he's just spent his time either in traffic or fending off people behind him. Shelley not doing particularly great at this moment in time. So yeah, I mean, it's an important battle, and those two still cannot get past RC Alonso. But those two are definitely ones to keep in the back of your mind for the race lead. Well, not for the race lead, but to make up significant positions later on. Because you got Clarkey, who's in 6th place. He's 13.3 seconds behind the leader. He's only about 24 seconds ahead of Shelley and David Greco. The difference is that Shelley and David Greco, they've got newer, grippier tyres, but Clarkey's got clean air and only one car to worry about. So yeah, I mean, there definitely could be an interesting movement in who's going to take 6th place. Like you said, JKLFC is looking incredibly strong for the race win, although I just see him lock up, and bearing in mind if he's trying to do a one-stop strategy, he's going to have to want to avoid doing that. But he's keeping pace with Ali K as well. I mean, for the time being, that's not that difficult, but when Ali K, Simo, Aresi, Synthetic, when they all come into the pit and fit on a newer set of tyres, probably ultra softs, actually, I would imagine. That's when Jake LFC has got his work cut out, so he needs to be on the pace now, because later on down the line it's going to get trickier for him. But Ali K, I don't even think we've mentioned him that much, because he's just been in a class of his own. Apart from the very first corner on the very first lap, he's led pretty much the entire Grand Prix. And Simo was catching up for a little while. There's one time where Simo was 1.9 seconds close to get to 1.7 seconds, but now Simo in second is 2.5 seconds behind. Synthetic third, Aresi down into 4th place. I'm not sure if we ever saw that actually, but last time I remember, Aresi was in third place.
Yeah, they just pass each other along the straight. I was going to point that out. Ollie D gets back H Racing Green in turn 1. Yeah, I'm not surprised that Aresi's running inside the top 5. He ended up winning this Grand Prix last season and won the championship as well. So he does have some history and experience at this track, and it's, you know, been working out well for him, to say the least. But Ali K still leading by 2.4 seconds. I want to see the gap between Jake LFC into the leader. That is 6.8 seconds he is off of Ali K. So just for basically add a second to that, I still think if Jake LFC wants to win this race, he's going to have to save his tires a little bit more. Again, we keep catching him locking up a little bit too much if he wants to, you know, finish the race on these tires in this corner. But I think he's realized that now after locking up once there. And I mean, these are corners that you wouldn't necessarily lock up in. Maybe turns 1, 2, and maybe even 3, and that's about it. But we're going to look on board lap number 26 into turn 1. You can see that right front just lock up just a tad bit. But it's fine, it's fine. It wasn't, you know, a big lockup. But again, yeah, it's going to be a question for these drivers. They're going to have to pit one more time, except for Jake LFC, H Racing Green, and Big C. They're all good till the end. And, well, that is if they save their tires enough. As Big Shot Player, a 3-second time penalty. He's already outside of the point, so that adds insult to injury. He's back in 12th place. He can take an onboard view from Big C behind, who was trying to go for the one stop. He would rather have much more clean air in front of him as he keeps locking up. Not the preferred way to go in this Grand Prix. But, again, Big C needs to make it to the end on these tires. If not, he's going to be starting one more pit stop and possibly down to the end of the grid with Alex and Woolley, which is, you know, in the Red Bull compared to the Mercedes. So, we are 26 laps into this Grand Prix, and I'm going to have to ask you, are there any surprises? We've only seen one retirement in 26 laps. We've seen a couple overtakes. So, how do you feel about the Austrian Grand Prix so far in Season 14?
Well, I tell you what I do think. There is definitely a battle for second place heating up. Simo made a mistake there. I thought he was going to lose position, but I think on the run up towards turn 2, Simo's in second place for a long time. And Simo, much like at the Monaco Grand Prix, just somehow found his way up towards the front. But he has now lost a place. A Synthetic has taken second place from Simo. So yeah, my surprise of the race was Simo. And wow, massive lock up there for Synthetic and the excitement of moving up to second place. But yes, yeah, honestly, I'm still not entirely sure how Simo ended so far up the field. I think it was just he just did the basics, but did them really well, and just I think it was track position, pit stops. He just found his way up into second place, now third, and Synthetic has actually been looking like one of the racier, one of the quicker drivers. Quicker than Ali K, I'm not sure, but I think this is going to be interesting. The remaining 8 laps of the Grand Prix, and Synthetic is now, well, let's just remember this, he's 2.7, 2.8 seconds behind Ali K. And let's just keep that in mind, because if that gap decreases, then we could well have a battle for the race lead on our hands. And you said there's going to be a 2-stop, but yet, surely, if everyone's going to come into the pits again, you'd imagine they're going to do that sooner rather than later, because there's only 8 laps left to go. And even the Ultra Softs can easily do 8 laps, so I'm not sure whether some of these drivers are trying to hold out on these soft tyres, but all of these drivers, pretty much every single one I've seen has locked up at turn 1, certainly, turn 3, so yeah, it would be a slight surprise if they're all able to do a one-stop, especially as you basically assured me that a one-stop was very difficult to pull off at this circuit. Actually, Synthetic, the gap between him and Ali K is closing down slightly, and yeah, another lap goes by, and the race leaders, certainly the top 5, well, we know Jake LFC definitely won't be coming into the pits again, but yeah, none of them have come into the pits, so while Synthetic is closing the gap down at the rate of 0.2 of a second a lap, so it's not close enough to take the race lead from Ali K. Yeah, Alan, are you sure there's going to be a 2-stop for all of these people? Because it's starting to look like it's not going to happen.
Like I said, it may happen around lap 30, maybe the next couple laps, but I really think it's a game. Because, again, I think these tires can stretch your tires a couple more laps, but I don't think they'll last the end of the race. You'd have to bear in mind, but there's a battle for 6th position brewing up between Clarkey and Sion, riding on board with the Renault driver. He's worked his way back up into the top 7. And, well, just lost momentum off turn number 2. As now they're down the back straight, but I'm gonna keep an eye on drivers such as Ali K. Like we said, it's sort of a mouse game. You have to wait for the first person to dip in. Once that happens, I feel like everyone else is just gonna flood in. But as Ali K goes through the penultimate corner, not going into the pits again. So maybe if he stays out here for one more 2 laps, I think they're gonna finish the race on these tires. I saw a different race in a league race yesterday, and a lot of drivers could barely pull off the one stop. There's only 1 or 2 people who could do it. So right now, 30 laps in out of 36. We have around 7 laps to go. And yeah, you said those ultra soft tires can go to the end. I'm not sure about the soft tires on their shot of lasting. But hold on a second. Sign finally gets by as he charges through in turn number 1. Penalty for Clarkey as he just got passed for multiple warnings, probably for exceeding track limits. But as we head uphill into turn number 2, they'll be side by side as they go. And Scion's still going to hold the inside. Can he clear him this time? And I think he will be able to, but clear him down the straight. Scion has moved up into the top 6 as Jthorn gets by. Big shot player, it's undetermined yet. But down the straight, Jthorn will pick up P number 12. We're going to look back with Ali K right on board as he's not pitting. So I think they'll actually finish the Grand Prix out on these tires. I was purely convinced that these drivers, most of them, were going to go for the 2-stop. I honestly thought that. And we didn't hear a word from Jthorn or Alex about a 1-stop, so I assumed that a 2-stop was sort of the plan for these drivers. I'll give it 1 more lap, and if I don't see anyone pitting, then most likely it'll be a 1-stop. But as we go through the grid, I think now it's starting to chime on down to the final couple of laps. We're coming to the final stage of this Grand Prix. And, well, Ali K leading the way in his Ferrari. He's trying to go for his 2nd win of AOR this season and his first ever career victory that he'll win from pole position. So it'd be a well-dominated one for him, don't you think?
Yes, it would be a dominant win for him because at no point, as I said, apart from the very first corner on the very first lap, at no point has Ali K come under pressure. In fact, I mean, really, at the moment, I mean, at least Synthetic is actually closing up at the rate of still around 0.2 of a second a lap. Synthetic is catching up to Ali K. So if this was a 50-lap race, I think Synthetic could very well challenge Ali K for the race win. But as it stands, yeah, Ali K led from the front, and it's just been... I mean, it's really difficult to comment on Ali K's race because he's just put in the laps, and they've just been quick and decent, and he's pitted at the right time. And you had the likes of David Greco as his main contender.
Hold on. Incident. Jthorn. The exit of the S's, and he's gonna join his Mercedes teammate in the 2 last possible positions in this Grand Prix. As RC Lotso's gonna come swooping on by. It looks like there's some steering damage, but obviously Jthorn will be pitting this lap. And I'll look at Ali K. He's back in the lead. Sorry to interrupt. What were you saying?
No, I was just going to say that it is really difficult to comment on Ali K's race because no one has really touched him, apart from Synthetic in the past few laps, and David Greco towards the start. David Greco's charge of the race win really stopped ever since the pit stop screwed him over. So, yeah, I mean, you asked me, has it been a dominant win for Ali K? And, well, I mean, okay, he hasn't won yet, but I think at this rate it is going to be, because Synthetic at this rate could get inside DRS range of Ali K, but even then, that's nowhere near enough. There's a complete difference between the race win and yeah, it's a difference between getting inside DRS range and actually taking the race lead.
So that gap is around 1.8 seconds. Do bear in mind penalties. I think Synthetic has a bunch of penalties, and Ali K does not have a single one. So automatically, I think that'd give Ali K a huge advantage over Synthetic. But look back at Simo. He's surprisingly in 3rd place. Good job to him. That'll be another podium for him of the season. Gonna look through the grid as well. I was going to point out that there's an incident, but that's because Jthorn retired from the session. Meanwhile, Alex is in 16th. He got by RC Alonso as well. So, good news to that. But we are coming to just a couple laps to go in this Grand Prix. 3 laps to go. We are coming to it on board with Ali K. The gap is 1.5 seconds. once Synthetic gets to the back, oh, well, losing the back end just a little bit off the final corner is Ali K, but doesn't really affect him that much, only a 10th. But 3 laps to go, Ali K still leads, and well, again, he's trying to get his first victory from pole position. It looks to be likely, and now the gap just went down to 1.2 seconds, so in one corner, he lost 3 tenths, that is, or no, 2 tenths, that is. Back to 1.3, however, so Synthetic is reeling him in, but will he have enough time? And do bear in mind, in this game, it's hard to pass people. So once you get to the back end of Ali K, you're going to have to quickly think of a move or just trick him into a mistake. And plus, this is really for the championship, because if I am correct, Synthetic is 18 points behind Ali K, and they're 1-2, yes, they're 1-2 in the championship. So, for, I believe, the first time this season, they could both score a podium. They have not done that yet. They have never stood on the same podium with each other throughout this entire championship so far. So that is really interesting stuff. There's only one entire Grand Prix that neither of them were on the podium, and that was China. So that's interesting. As records will be broken today. We're coming to 2 laps to go. Ali K looks to be, he's maintaining his gap. It's now down to 1.1 as they cross the stripe. As I'm going to look further back in the grid. On board of the Jake LFC, he's about to pass Aresi for the 4th position. Off turn number 1, that is a good exit for Jake LFC. You know, headed up the straight, he's going to put it up in a rich mix and try and chase down Aresi. I think he's done a good job this championship, and I'm going to have to give a huge props and shout out to the McLaren Honda driver with H Racing Green. He is in P9, and I don't think he has any penalties. So the least he's going to get is P9 today, and that'll be a good finish for him in the championship. Beacle, sadly, in 11th place. That'll be his best finish of the season, believe it or not. So he is running outside of the points momentarily. As you can see the Sauber in the background of a Big Shot player trying to get by. As you can see in the background, the Red Bull looking up to the inside. And that is going to be Woolley against David Greco, locking up and making contact at turn number 2. As looks like Woolley gets by for P14. And we're coming to the final lap of this Grand Prix in Spielberg. It's been a good one. As we're coming up 1 final lap to go in Spielberg. Less than 1 second it is between Synthetic and Ali K as they approach their final lap in this Grand Prix. And I think penalties are really going to hurt Synthetic on this final lap. Going to look through the grid. There's a position again between Jake LFC on board for the final time. Can Jake LFC make up a move? We will see as we head up into turn number 2. As uphill they go. Jake LFC not desperate enough. He's still staying there as Big Shot player gets by. Oh no! Final lap. That is Beacle, and he's off. And we jinxed him. He said we were going for his best position, and an incident carnage on the final lap. It is for Beacle on the start-finish straight. So that is absolute terrible stuff. It is for Beacle. Another retirement this season. 4th one. It is for McLaren of Beacle. And not the best day to finish a Grand Prix, but again, final lap it is for Ali K. He's going to win his first race from pole position, and he's going to do it from Spielberg. It'll be victory number 2 this season for AOR as he extends the points lead here in Spielberg. Ali K wins here in the Austrian Grand Prix. 3rd is going to be Simo. 4th, Aresi is it? No. Demoted, and Jake LFC picks up the position. Final couple of corners between Clarkey and Ali D. Single file it is across the line. They're going to pick up those positions easily. A couple positions change. H Racing Green will pick up the 9th position. Looking further on back off the final corner. It's going to be between Big Shot player and Shelley. Across the line they go, and one car into the wall that is spinning behind Big Shot player back into P12. So that finishes out an interesting Grand Prix. Alex is yet to finish, but that rounds out everyone. Your winner today is Ali K. And that was a well-deserved victory. Ali K drove so hard this Grand Prix. He did everything he needed to do to win, actually. I'm going to look at the fastest lap if I can. The detail. Can I look at the fastest lap? I'm hoping I can. Yes, there we go. Fastest lap is awarded to David Greco in 12th place. So we did not get... He did not get the fastest lap, but Ali K stands on top today. I'm not sure if that was supposed to rhyme. A little coincidence, but Ali K wins his 2nd race of the season and extends that championship lead. It went from 18 back to 25 by a whole race, so Ali K will stand on the top step podium today, and the prancing horses will be proud. The Tifosi, as well as the Brit for Ferrari, wins today, and Spielberg gets awarded that trophy. And now I'm going to ask you, Nathan, what are your thoughts on the Grand Prix? It's been a good one.
Well, my thoughts on the podium are that these three drivers on the podium are three of definitely the championship contenders. I think potentially the top three in the Drivers' Championship. I mean, I know Simo currently, well, entering this race, he was 6th in the championship, but Simo, he's just done so exceptionally well. Let's not forget he didn't even do the first 4 races in this championship, and he's already won 2 races. He's done exceptionally well and taken the podium here. We have Ali K, Synthetic, JKLFC, Aresi, Ollie D, Sion, Big C, H Racing Green, Clarkey, B Colt so close to scoring points, but then crashed on the last lap, and actually I think was passed by one of the Williams drivers anyway. Then you got Shelley, David Greco, a race of what could have been for him. And yeah.
So thank you everybody so much for watching. My name is Alan Cavagnaro. I'm alongside Nathan or PS Luton Rules. We will see you next week for the final race of 2017 before we hit the Christmas or holiday break. Next week will be the British Grand Prix round number 10. It marks the halfway mark in this championship. Thank you everybody so much for watching the 9th round of this championship. My name is Alan Cavagnaro. I'm alongside Nathan or PS Luton Rules. We will see you next week for the British Grand Prix, and after that, next year for the Hungarian Grand Prix. So thank you everybody so much for tuning in. We will see you next week. Have a safe night, and peace.